Probably the most requested project in the entire city is the Jackrabbit and I-10 interchange. City traffic engineer John Willett has been working closely with ADOT for years now to make this happen, and we're finally getting close. John, first off, let's talk about why it takes so long to make a project like that happen, the complexities of it.
Typically, the way a project works in the ADOT process or even in the public sector process in the city is you identify a project need, which was done for Jackrabbit TI, identify the the interchange needs to be improved. Then the public agency, in this case ADOT, does a study to determine what is the best solution to address the need. And then once the study is completed, and that study normally takes a year, sometimes 15 months, depending on the complexity of the study, identify what is the solution, then they roll into what's called the design process. And before a lot of this can even start, there needs to be a funding source. So in order to build these improvements, where does that money come from? I mean, people don't have money laying around. Individuals, cities don't, agencies don't have money laying around.
And so the type of money we're talking about estimated for that project is how much?
Originally it was about $65 million. And that's the range is looking in right now to redo everything. So that's a lot of change to try to find around someplace. It's a lot of couch cushions to turn over, so to speak, that MAG has gone through. Prop 479, actually with the passage of that, is the funding source for the construction component. ADOT and MAG rolled the dice a little early and said, we're going to fund the design early before Prop 479 ever passed. So the design process was in the works. The design process is about a year and a half again, just all the complexities, replacing the bridge, moving utilities, how do they deal with the flood control wash and channel that's right next to it. Then they're going to roll into construction. So timing-wise, ADOT's probably 75, 80% through the design, hoping to have it wrapped up this fall. Then there's what they call an advertisement process, where they put it on the street, all the contractors bid on it, they select. So they're looking to hopefully start construction spring of 2026. And then it's about a year, 15-month construction schedule. So we're looking, fingers crossed, everything goes well, a completed interchange in the spring of 2027, maybe summer.
Fantastic. So we can see relief on the horizon out there.
That is correct.
And what does that project entail? Give me maybe the scope of it.
I'll do the crib note version. It's 3 lanes in each direction on Jackrabbit Trail from McDowell to immediately south of the freeway. There is a part 2 to this whole interchange project, and that's completing Jackrabbit Trail from the end of the freeway interchange all the way down to Van Buren to tie into what's been already completed by developer projects in the city south of Van Buren. So when it's all finished from basically the RID Canal, or if you're familiar with the Great Hearts Charter School area, from there to McDowell Road will be 3 lanes in each direction, interchange, nicer off-ramps, multi-lanes, traffic signal installed, basically a functioning interchange like every other one up and down I-10.
Yeah, and I know our residents will ask the type of interchange, divergent diamond or the traditional?
This is the regular typical interchange like a Verado, not like what's at Watson and Miller, but more of Verado, Saraval.
And then that project, I guess maybe just to go a little bit further, that cleans up and fixes Jackrabbit Trail from Van Buren to McDowell. What's happening from McDowell to Thomas?
So we have 2 projects underway in the city. They're being both done by the same designer, same contractor. We will improve McDowell from Jackrabbit west towards Verado or Tut Hill Wash. That's starting construction in the next couple of weeks. They're just waiting for one last utility company to get out of the way. The contractor is going to get in there. That'll be 1 lane in each direction with the middle turn lane. So there'll be another access point out of Verado over to Jackrabbit. Then the second piece of that project is improving Jackrabbit from McDowell to Thomas. And again, continuing the 3 lanes in each direction with the median.
Traffic signal at Thomas.
Traffic signal McDowell, traffic signal at Thomas, That is correct. Planning for a potential future traffic signal at Palm Lane, the access point to the park and ride.
Okay.
When it's necessary and it comes in. Same thing in Canto, if a traffic signal is ever needed, it would come in. Going south, in conjunction with what part 2 of the interchange project is, there'll be a future traffic signal at Roosevelt, as part of the project that's already building the roadway improvement that people are probably seeing out there today.
Yeah. I think we're seeing the beginnings of that. Half of that traffic signals put in place.
And then there will be a traffic signal at the intersection of Van Buren and Jackrabbit. That is a city CIP project. I know you didn't ask the question, but it's all part of that corridor.
Right.
So just keep it all in the same context. That project should go to construction this fall, which have a traffic signal in there probably by the end of the year.
The complexion of transportation in the eastern portion of Buckeye is going to be completely different. That Jackrabbit Trail, McDowell tying in and connecting to Verrado Way, Roosevelt tying in and connecting to Verrado Way, a lot of ways to move around by early 27.
Right, and you throw in the traffic signals to help the flow of traffic. I know a lot of residents and people drive through have been frustrated for the years. Sometimes it just takes a while to get there, but we are getting there. I mean, the inside is close.
Yeah. Well, we just continue to blame you.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes.
I have big shoulders. I can handle it all.
Let's talk about some of the other projects that are going on. So the voters overwhelmingly approved the bond issuance. It was on the ballot last year, and really exciting to see that we have upwards of $150 million to go towards transportation projects. Maybe talk a little bit about that and how sprinkled throughout the entire city of Buckeye, those projects will relieve traffic congestion.
We're going to spend the bond money in phases because it doesn't make sense to try to spend it all tomorrow. It's going to be spread out over several years. Some of the early projects are we're going to start the design process for Indian School to improve Indian School from Jackrabbit to Perryville. Mm-hmm. We have another study phase for Jackrabbit from Thomas to Indian School to add additional lanes there. We are also going to look at Miller to add some more lanes between Broadway and Lower Buckeye. We have pieces on Watson to improve between Broadway and Lower Buckeye, where the RID canal is. We have some projects in there. Those are the pinch points that we talked about in the bond, that we just need some money to add more lanes, increase the capacity. Those are probably three of the bigger ones coming in right away. We are looking to improve Verrado between Yuma and Van Buren, add an additional lane northbound, southbound. Over on Sun Valley Parkway, we're looking to bring in some lighting in the Tartesso area initially. Then the next phase would be in Festival.
Okay, so in addition to funding from Prop 479 or funding that is coming through bonds, we have CIP projects, capital improvement projects in the city that are already in the works. Maybe talk a little bit about some of those and what that looks like moving forward.
Okay, yeah, sure. So basically the CIP is a program that builds all these projects, and there's just different funding sources. You mentioned Prop 479 is a funding source. Our GO bond is a funding source. We have city general funds that do cover improvement costs. Some of the initial ones coming in right now, if you're familiar with Miller, between Lower Buckeye and I-10, that construction is going on right now. We were finally able to get the last few utilities out of the way. That one's occurring right now. We have another project on Watson that will go to construction this fall to improve the east side of Watson from Lower Buckeye to Durango, right across from Inca Elementary, to put 3 lanes in each direction. Back up to Miller. Miller was 3 lanes in each direction from Lower Buckeye to Pima. We have a third project that will go to construction this fall to also improve Apache, next to immediately south of Yuma, to take care of the west side, build that out so there's 2 lanes southbound. That's a city project we need to do, so that will go to construction this fall. We have some signal projects that are coming in. Traffic signals being installed at Southern and Apache. Mm-hmm. Those should be going in fairly soon. We are looking at a project at Broadway in Watson to put a traffic signal in there and improve that intersection a little better. We have traffic signals we're looking at Apache and Lower Buckeye by Yonker High School, looking at putting one there. Also a traffic signal probably coming in fairly soon at Apache and Yuma. That may be developer driven. I mentioned earlier the Van Buren and Jackrabbit Trail signal. That's the immediate stuff coming in. There's a lot of CIP projects that are occurring. These are the ones immediately on the roadway work.
Yeah. So these are the more immediate projects that we have coming in. So over the next 2, 3, 4 years, we'll see a lot of this stuff built and then providing that relief that we're looking for. There's probably some other more long-range projects that are out there. Maybe we can talk about maybe State Route 30, that's a long range, or the I-11, or more interchanges or improvements to existing interchanges along I-10?
So SR 30 was in the the Prop 479 and passed. MAG and ADOT have agreed to break that up in 4 pieces. The first phase would occur in the first 5 years of the bond. They're going to do a study to identify the preferred alignment for SR 30. Everyone has their opinion exactly where it should be. It should be down alignment A, it should be down alignment B, it should move to here.
And this is specific, the segment that goes from 303 to the 85.
This is specifically the segment through the Buckeye area. So the first order of business will be doing a study. Once that study is finalized, the next phase, which would be the second 5-year time frame in the MAG project, would be acquiring the right-of-way that's identified from the first phase. And then the third 5-year piece would start some construction. And my understanding from what I heard is they're only going to build a 2-lane road. So whether they're going to build it on the westbound lanes or the eastbound lanes, they're going to build something out there with the intersections where they cross Miller, Watson, MC85, and whatnot. So something's going to be coming. Unfortunately, it is significantly a ways out.
Yeah.
But glad to hear that we finally convinced MAG and ADOT that they need to start looking at it instead of just waiting forever to do that.
And that becomes an I-10 reliever, not only in our area, but that next segment, which is actually going to construction much sooner, is between 303 and 202. And that goes a significant distance in relieving I-10.
Correct.
When you get from the 303. I think
Yes.
will do a great job in taking care of some of the additional traffic.
Yeah, so eventually when we get all the way to 85 in Buckeye, and we have all of our warehousing facilities up and down 85, if they wanted to go to Tucson, they could take SR 30 straight over to the 202 South Mountain, go around to I-10 and never have to go through downtown.
Yeah.
So that's going to get there. The third piece of SR 30 is the connection from the 202 to downtown. Does that really help Buckeye a lot? Nah, maybe not, but it probably is a domino benefit to us eventually. Regarding I-11, that's quite a ways out there. ADOT had started to put an RFP on the street to finalize the corridor. And the way the I-11's been looked at, they did an initial corridor that was, I'm going to get the numbers not 100% right, but it was like 5,000 feet wide. And then they did a second study that narrowed the corridor to about 3,000 feet wide. And this last study they're going to do is going to narrow it down to what the actual alignment's going to be. This is where it's going to be, and that'll set it up for future to start doing the actual design. Timing of that's probably quite a ways out. The other big freeway ADOT roadway corridor in Buckeye is SR 85 and trying to do some improvements out there.
Right.
So we have some projects that we are doing internally to look at doing some interim improvements. MAG is actually doing a project study as well as to what the future ultimate should be, since things have changed since the last time they did it about 20 years ago. They want to update it. And then they're going to back a little bit to say, what is the interim before the build out? Kind of like what the Loop 303 is across the north part of the valley. If you left I-17, you had a roadway but no interchanges. Well, now the interchanges are starting to pop in.
Yeah.
That interim may be, what is that roadway before the interchanges?
Yeah.
We are focusing on what is the step in between that, between now, what we have today existing, and that interim that MAG's looking at. So we are in the process of completing our study, working with ADOT and MAG to get a consensus that we can move forward with. I wish I could tell people that we're going to have design started next week, but that's not the case. We got to go through the process of getting the blessing from ADOT, designing, getting a contractor, and then building. But we have, Buckeye, the city has set aside money for some improvements, so we can do something. We just need to confirm with ADOT what they will allow us to build on their facility.
The safety need is there. We've got to get signals or some way to control traffic.
Yes, some way to allow people from the crossroads to easily access the through movements on north-south 85.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trucks out there. There'll be more trucks coming in, more traffic on that road. Something needs to occur. We're trying to study and finalize what is the best thing.
And that's zooming in on that portion of 85 is a portion of the I-11. Zooming back out to the overall I-11, that's the Canamex corridor from It's an interstate that runs connecting trade partners, Mexico to Canada, runs through the city of Buckeye. So it's south of us is yet to be determined. Once it gets to 85, it is 85. I-11 and 85 are the same. When it turns the corner and heads west, I-10 and I-11 are the same. And then at some point there'll be an interchange where it goes north toward Wickenburg.
Correct.
And then connecting the rest of the way up to
Yeah,
Nevada.
that interchange, and they call it a system interchange. That'd be a lot like the 303 I-10 interchange, which is freeway to freeway. That's around the 363rd Avenue alignment. Hasn't been dialed in exactly, but that's approximately where it is. And then it meanders north and goes along the western boundary of the Teravalis, Douglas Ranch, depends on what people remember it as, community, and then connects up to Wickenburg.
All right, John, well, I appreciate you spending time and talking with us here. There's a mountain of infrastructure projects that are headed our way. You're going to be very, very busy over the next 5 years, and we appreciate all that's going into it. Thank you, John, for being a part of the city of Buckeye.
You're welcome, and thank you for, I love doing it. I love talking to the residents and trying to help ease their concerns and finding solutions to what they're asking for. Come on.
Yeah. Buckeye's future has never been brighter. With smart planning, strategic investments, and the support of our community, we are building a city where families and businesses can thrive. Thank you for being a part of Buckeye's incredible journey. Stay connected and learn more on our social channels and buckeyeaz.gov. We're just getting started.